Seconds. Ever since the beginning of the community development program, I have taken deep interest in it. It did much good, but it became clear later that something else should be done to give fresh vitality to our work in rural areas. This impetus was provided by the Panchayati Raj program, which was not only an extension of community development but was also qualitatively somewhat different. It also went deeper into the roots of our village structure. Therefore, I was deeply interested in it and attached great importance to it. It struck me as an attempt to strike at the roots of our weakness, especially in rural areas. The measure of success it may attain depends on the workers connected with it as well as a large number of others who are closely associated with it. To what extent it has succeeded, it is difficult for me to say without more detailed information, but I am convinced that it is working on right lines, and if the proper connected with it realize its inner significance, its success is assured. On achieving independence, we inherited not only various psychologies and habits of the British times, but also an administrative apparatus which, though good in its own way for the purpose of the British government has in view, did not fit into the new order that we were trying to build. Many of our officials were well trained and good, but naturally they were too much tied up with the old order. We came to realize gradually that the whole outlook of our administrative structure has to change if real progress is to be made. In particular, it has to change in the lower rank and in rural India. The old attitude was no good. It had to be replaced by full identification with the mass of our people and a growing responsibility being cast on the people themselves. After all, the main aim of community development and Panchayati Raj was to develop this outlook and a spirit of self-reliance amongst the people. The fact that those people were quite often not trained and had other failings was obvious. Nevertheless, the only way to train them and to lessen their failing was to give them the chance of shouldering responsibility and learning by their own mistakes. We have to undertake many development schemes, but the biggest project of all is to build man and woman. We have met after a fairly long interval since January last. The last time we met was soon after emergency was declared in the wake of Chinese invasion. The emergency is still with us, though it has lost some of its immediate urgency, but we have to prepare to meet the threat which is still there. It is clear that even from the point of view of the emergency, it is of the utmost importance for our development work to go on. Emergency does not merely mean raising shoulders or getting aircraft. It means production for defense, especially all other type of production, more particularly on the agricultural front, is equally necessary. We have done many things which are creditable to us, but the overall picture is not one of fast progress, especially in the agricultural domain. This is rather distressing because agriculture is the basis of all our development work. If we fail in agriculture, it does not matter what else we achieve, how many plants we put up, our economic development will not be completed. Agriculture is more important than anything else, not excluding big plants, because agricultural production sets the tone to all economic progress. It is agriculture that gives the material for progress. If we fail in agriculture, then we fail inevitably in industry also. I am laying stress on this because, in spite of the emphasis on this, it appears to me that agriculture is often considered a routine job not deserving to be taken charge of by the brightest of the ministers. Agriculture is more important by itself than any chief minister. You may say chief minister are all important in a government. Of course, from the point of departments and administration, chief minister's portfolio is most important. I should not be sorry if the chief minister himself took charge of agriculture. It must be done by a man with a sense of devotion to work, with energy and enthusiasm and some ideas. That is unfortunately not so now. In any case, that is not the impression we get. Progress has not been satisfactory, even in regard to another matter, land reforms. It is intimately connected with agricultural progress, and as a problem, it has been with us ever since we became independent. Indeed, even before that, nothing exercised our minds so much as land reform. Most of the states, or nearly all of them, ultimately based legislation, but in some places its progress was held up by the courts until finally it was passed. In Japan, I believe the ceiling on land is 7 acres only. It is intimately connected with agricultural progress.